French knots are an embroidery technique. If we change it just a little bit, we can use them to make roses and rosebuds on our knits.
Here's my new little jacket, and this is one of a pair of videos in which I'm showing you how to get the vine effect. In the other video, we talked about the knit weaving that makes the green vine. Now we will discuss the French knots that make the roses. In classic embroidery, French knots are very delicate, but they can be because we're using a very firm, tightly woven fabric, which we are not here. So to get it to work on knitting, we're going to use the same weight as the main yarn, knot a loop into the first end, and I know this goes against the grain, but you need to knot enough of a loop that you'll be able to catch it with your needle. We can trim the loose ends later if need be. So this knot and loop will stop unwanted pulling through from the back of the fabric to the front. Now here's where I want my first rose. So I'm going to bring the needle up from the back being the knit side, and pull until I can feel the knot stopping things, which is exactly what we want. Now very nearby, put the needle under another stitch, wrap the yarn twice around the needle point, whoops, lost it while I was checking the monitor, and back down through the fabric. Pull gently. Sometimes they don't come out even. I caused that on purpose so you could see that you can correct it by pulling one strand at a time. Now we have a little twisty sort of knot, and you can adjust it with your thumbnail till you sort of like the shape. Don't pull it too tight or you won't have a visible flower. And remember, nobody's ever going to be looking as closely at it as you are. So what looks to you now like hideous imperfection may look artistic at a couple feet away. And here's where our knot comes in. We only do this once, but this means that the whole thing will not start pulling out from that first stitch. And later I can come and trim these unnecessarily long ends or use sewing thread to sew them down. Now I normally run my yarn, my French knot yarn, continuously. So I'll go behind the fabric and come up at the next position. We have some unwanted fuzz on here. And it's very important here to pull it snug enough that you don't have a long and sloppy float, but it can't be so tight that it would restrict the drape of the fabric. So that looks about right to me. Let's make one more French knot. Under a very near stitch, grabbing a bar. This is the step that is most unlike an embroidery French knot. It's not necessary with tightly woven fabric, but here it is to secure it to the face of the fabric and keep it from pulling through. Wrap twice, go down close by, pull and adjust. It looks reasonably rose-like. I've poked at them and adjusted them just a little bit off camera, and there's what we have.